Hello, hello, hello. This is Misty Magdalena Grace with the new and improved version of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, where we talk about spirituality, psychedelics, plant medicine, microdosing, and really that journey within to finding your best innate wisdom, to your best health, your best wealth through all sorts of inner child healing, trauma release, grief recovery, overcoming addictions, and working with the mind, the body, and spirit. So go ahead, leave a review, subscribe, download. We look forward to your feedback. Thanks for tuning in today. Hello, everyone. Again, as you heard in the intro, I go by Magdalena, and I am a podcaster, healer who helps guide people through mental, physical, spiritual, emotional well-being. And throughout this journey since the pandemic, really, I remembered who I truly am at the heart of me, and I figured out why I'm here. There's a great quote by Mark Twain that he says the two most important days are the days in your life where first you were born, and then the day that you found out why. And so if you've been following me for a while, I've been talking about the why, which is our new foundation that me and my beloved husband is forming. And it's around suicide awareness as well as recovery. And specifically, our mission is to break the stigma. About mental health and suicide and addiction. A lot of times people don't want to talk about that stuff. There can be shame, there can be guilt, there can be fear, there can be separation, there can be loneliness. Fear of judgment was one of my biggest pain points and shadows that I healed and worked through over the past few years. If you don't know my story, I'm going to be very, very brief. I have lost 12 friends to suicide. I have lost many to addiction. And I got to a point where I did not ever process any of the grief. This month, it'll be 18 years since my first friend committed suicide. And I didn't do anything after his death to support my healing process. So think about that. 18 years, I've been carrying this grief and this trauma. And then just life happened for me, and becoming a mom and a wife and all of this responsibility and paying bills and having a business and trying to do all of the things. I couldn't see the forest for the trees, so I felt very alone. I felt very afraid. I wanted to die. I didn't have full-blown suicidal ideation. However, I did think about death a lot, and there were times where I actually prayed for it to happen. I wanted to be done with this life. I also went down a path of addiction, escapism, closet alcoholism, essentially, that could have brought me to a place of death much sooner, like it did for my brother, who died at 49 years of age of alcoholism. And so I've experienced both sides of the pain and the suffering and what it does to the mind, the negative thinking, the thoughts, the fears that we can really get addicted to in our own way. And so I'm announcing officially, yesterday was my birthday, so I celebrate my birthday the whole month. And in this month, and every month, I've had Suicide Awareness Month. This will be my 5th year of having guests every week, many, many more guests than I normally do. I'm actually usually down to 2 guests a month, if that. And now I have about, I think it's 12 guests. I can't remember now. It's all on my website, which I'm also going to share with you today. So I want to honor those that we've lost to suicide. I also want to help break the stigma. I also want to focus on our foundation fundraiser, which is on September 21st. So I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But I actually have a really dear friend who I met through my healing journey here in San Diego. And he actually had a profound message that he wanted to share about his own journey with loneliness. And I feel like before I bring you on, Elvis, I'm just going to share a little bit more. I feel like there's a lot of us who we feel that we're alone. We feel that we're separate. Maybe our feelings don't matter. Maybe, no one should know about this because it's painful. I shouldn't talk about it. Suck it up, buttercup, and just hold it inside. Maybe only go to a therapist, which I know for me, if I had only relied on psychotherapy, unfortunately, I don't think I'd be alive today. And so a lot of times we got to seek help. We got to find other people and other modalities that can help us overcome these feelings of separation or these feelings of loneliness. So now I'm going to bring you on, Elvis, and just want to thank you so much for being with us today, all the way from Mexico. Just first of all, maybe share a little bit about who you are, what you do, and then we'll talk about Kambo.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me on and for everything that you're doing. I mean, this can help a lot of people, and there's a lot of people who really need it these days. So, just very briefly about myself, I'm founder of Terra Vitality. I'm also a podcast host, calisthenics athlete, musician, and yeah, I'm also here just to use whatever I'm good at to help people. That's really the bottom line of everything that I'm trying to do.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I mean, that reminds me of that quote, the knowing, finding out why you're here and being of service. You have such a servant heart, and you make a difference in this world, and you matter to me and so many people. And yet when you found me and you came to sit with Kambo, what drew you to work with me? Maybe share a little bit about that story, where you were at.
Yeah. I think that was it was kind of meant to be. Some of the synchronicities that happened that led me towards that session. Whether it's like some of the money that I paid for it, I actually just found one day on the payment. I kept it until that day. It was kind of funny, and yeah. Well, I'll give you a bit of a broader backstory. Like one of the things that Kambo helped me with was the feelings of loneliness, like you mentioned. And I had it for really, if I now think about it, it's been with me for years. Like even I remember when I moved for the first time out of Slovakia, where I'm from, to the UK. The first half a year, I actually gained a lot of weight. I was almost like on the verge of eating disorder. I gained a lot of weight. And a lot of it came down to feelings of loneliness, really. So I was just working in some warehouses, which I don't recommend, especially in the UK, and new environment, didn't have any friends, but I overcame it. But the feeling of loneliness kind of stuck with me, and throughout the years. Then in 2019, both of my parents passed away. Before I left Slovakia, my grandparents passed away, which is basically my whole family. So I don't really have anyone very close in terms of like family anymore. So that didn't help. Then I moved to Sweden in 2021. And after a few months, I broke up with my girlfriend of that time. Again, the feelings of loneliness kind of stayed with me throughout pretty much my whole stay in Sweden until I decided to go to Americas in like 1 year and 1 week ago. And also like in December when we did a Kambo. Also, just to point out, you're one of the few people that I would trust doing things like these, whether it's Kambo or some other plant medicine. Because especially like since I came over here to Tulum, I see that a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, we're doing Kambo, ayahuasca, and all the rest of it," but they just know jack shit about it. They're not like some shamans who really lived in the rainforest and did the dieta and or do it properly. And I've seen people do it in very irresponsible ways. But when I was about to do a Kambo with you, you sent me the questionnaire, which is like super for multiple pages. You actually told me when we met before that one of the reasons why you started doing it is because you saw a lot of people doing it the wrong way. And the session also was, there was nothing that would improve or just done everything the right way. So I was going through quite a lot at that point. I still kind of am, but Yeah, so it was just the Kambo. It was actually the Hape, Sananga, is it the right word? Yeah, and then the Kambo. I feel like a lot of it was done by the first two, and the Kambo just finished it off for me. So right after that, even after the Sananga jobs, that kind of like woke me up, and I felt like more like myself. Because over time, if I don't take care of myself too much, I kind of start slipping down, and life seems a bit more dull, and not really my true self. And this really woke me up, and it was a not it was by far not a pleasant experience in terms of like physically and how it feels and everything, but I felt so much better afterwards. Even the days afterwards, there was some stuff going on which wasn't good, but I was so calm. I mean, I was dealing with everything. It was like all good. And a few months later, I think it was already, yeah, might have been already in Mexico at that point. I just realized, like, man, it's been a long time since I felt lonely. You know, part of it is like since then I've always been around people, but even then, like even in the past when I had some people, and there was still a bit of a feeling of loneliness. And yeah, loneliness, that can be pretty tough. People are social creatures. We're not supposed to live alone all the time. And now, even though we are connected through social media and everything more than ever, yet we're still feeling more lonely than before. And, you can have 1,000 friends on Facebook, but you can still feel lonely if you don't have the right people around you. And I would also lie if I would say that I never had a thought about, that I just don't want to be here anymore, that I don't want to deal with this life anymore. But the thing is with me, I never let myself go down like really, really low to rock bottom. Close, but I always bounce back up. And yeah, this was one of the things that did help me, and in terms of like mental health and helping people to be better in some way, whether it's through training or whatever else I'm doing. That's been always close to my heart because I also, like I said, I've been dealing with these kind of things myself. At one point, I did for World Mental Health Day, I did 2,000 pull-ups in 6.5 hours. Then 2 years later, I did 3,000 push-ups, also for mental health reasons. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, and I want to mention this too. Thank you so much, first of all, for sharing all of that. I saw some themes and some patterns, and even with that one point when you were eating a lot and had essentially an eating disorder. A lot of times when we're lonely or sad or feeling separate, isolated from the world, we do reach out for food, substances. Social media has become an addiction. I think the suicide rate has increased since social media. Younger people committing suicide because of Facebook depression, comparison, not really connecting with people, because a lot of times Facebook and any social media, we're just showing what we want the world to see. and a lot of times, like me, I was hiding, behind all of these masks because I didn't want to show weakness and that I had any negative emotions. So I want to just also acknowledge you for knowing that you're going through a lot. You have developed, some muscles, literal and figurative, as a personal trainer and all of the music. You found other outlets that were healthy that are also helping you work through anything that comes your way. So thank you for sharing your story and for supporting this. I'd like to close just sharing, we wanted to share a conversation about what it goes on, even for those of us who are healthy and fit. I mean, we still have our emotions and our challenges. That's the lie that I think most of us have been fed through media, through social media, even in some spiritual communities, just focus on the light, just focus on the positive, everything's going to be okay. But if you do that to an extreme, and you don't face the shadows like loneliness, sadness, depression, fear, anxiety, shame, guilt, I call those the shadow emotions, then If you don't shine a light on them, then they don't feel seen, heard, and then that's when you can get into a loop of addictive behaviors, but also addiction to those loops that keep coming up because they want to be seen, the emotions want to be felt, are transmuted, whether it's through Kambo or plant medicine or even exercise or music, whatever is your thing. We just want to build that awareness. And if any of this makes sense for you, if you're listening and you want to help, here's a few quick ways as we lead into September 21st. That's the big event that's going to be live streamed on my YouTube channel. So if you're watching us now on my YouTube channel, I have it in a few different platforms, also on my podcast platform. Just know that you subscribe and you save the date. I'll be sharing that in a second, and the time and all of that. You can actually be able to live stream the speakers for the event. And at the event, I'll be speaking on September 21st. It'll be 4 p.m. Pacific time live stream, starting at 3 p.m. If you're here in San Diego, you can come and attend the whole 3-hour event. There's going to be inspiration, education, vendors are going to be there, a variety of vendors. I will be posting about them this week and the whole month until that date. Mental health tips, suicide awareness, really helping bring hope and healing, which is part of our mission. I'll be speaking about our mission and vision that day, and I have it on the screen right now. First of all, our mission is to break the generational cycles of addiction and suicide. September by the month is also Recovery Month. I didn't know that until someone told me like a week ago, so I thought that was another synchronicity there. But helping break those cycles, because once it's in your blood, your DNA, and your generational traumas, it follows you. You can't escape from it until you cleanse it, you heal it, you work through the emotional pain body, the physical, mental, spiritual. It's all connected. We want to be the change we want to see in the world by opening people's hearts and minds to these topics. Again, we find that if you don't talk about it, you sweep it under the rug, it just becomes like the elephant in the room. And through that process of talking about it, we want to give hope and healing. Our vision, which is also on our website, I just will briefly mention our vision that is an extension of that mission and why we're doing this first annual event. We want to serve 100 clients in the next 12 months who have been impacted by the grief or loss of a loved one that died by suicide or addiction. We want to give them support, love, and the deepest healing possible through scholarships. That's part of where the monies is going to go. There's a whole list on my website. I'm not going to go through it, how we're going to utilize those funds in our first year. This will be life's work. This will be the rest of my life. Next year, I'm going to do a grief recovery 5K, and we'll be doing an annual September event every year here in San Diego. So ways that you can help. Simple, go to the website, lotusthronesanctuary.org, and there's a donations tab. You can donate financially. You can also donate a silent auction item. I am cutting it off. September 10th is the deadline to get your silent auction item donated if you're a healer or a mental health therapist or somehow evolved in the addiction or grief recovery realm and you have a service that can be donated. We can add you to our silent auction that we're going to be doing both in person and online. So if none of that works, if you even simply want to come to the event in person or live streaming it, and then sharing is caring. You could save a life. So hitting the share button, spreading the news about this event. If you're not on my email list, email me at info@lotusthronesanctuary.org and I will add you to the email list. You can email me also if you just want to say, hey, I can't donate, I can't be there in person. How can I help? Just email me. I will be focused on this all month through the end of the month. We'll be having many podcasts. I'm super excited about the website, and I was hoping that I had it pulled up here. Now I can't find it, so forgive me. I will actually put my website. I have a Suicide Awareness Month website. I'm going to add it to my Linktree site, which is magdalenagrace.com. So save that. I'll update it today. So go to magdalenagrace.com, and that actually has all of the podcast guests listed, their bios. We have some really powerful stories, some famous people. We have a lot of different people that are going to be talking about how they overcame their own suicide experience, attempts, as well as ideation, as well as losing other people, and how they've recovered and worked on their own recovery journey. There's many tools. There's many ways to ask for help and to seek help, just like Elvis was talking about. There's no one path here. And even my husband and I, we're healers and facilitators of different tools that can help people through this process of healing. However, it's not about us. It's about a network of people that we're also creating, that'll be inside of our nonprofit, our foundation, to be able to help people with the scholarship funds come to us and get help. Because I know for me, and this will be my final thing, I spent 18 years running from my grief, drowning in my grief, drinking, working over, social media addiction, all of it, because I didn't want to feel the pain. And I didn't know what I didn't know. So I didn't know that you can process it. And especially in that first 3 to 6 months after you lose someone to addiction related death or suicide, that's when the trauma is like still really just like there underneath the surface. If you can process it and transmute it at the emotional pain body, get it out of your physical body, it'll help heal the mind and the heart mind that much faster. So you won't be living kind of like with a constant little reminder and tremor of it inside of your central nervous system. So we're going to focus first on the people with the most recent deaths, because we want to help them process it as fast as possible. Doesn't mean that it takes away the pain. I want to reassure you of that. We grieve for the rest of our lives after losing someone like that. I still cry about my brother, my friends. However, now it's just a very different experience, and it's not stuck in my body. I'm allowing myself the freedom to just let it move through, because that's all it is. Emotion is energy in motion. It's got to move through your body. Otherwise, later it's going to cause cancer. It's going to cause dis-ease. It's going to cause some emotional, mental, or physical breakdown. And that's why we're here, is to have these discussions, bring awareness, and help people who may or may not have the financial wherewithal to fully, properly take care of themselves immediately after the loss of someone like that. So anyway, I could go on. I wasn't planning on talking this long, and I always have a tendency to get passionate about this topic, as you can tell. I could go on forever and ever, but again, check out my two different sites, the magdalenagrace.com, the lotusthronesanctuary.org. Elvis, is there any last words that you want to share before we close?
Again, thank you very much for everything that you're doing. I'm definitely tuning on 21st. And for everyone listening, go listen to people who went through similar stuff like you do. You're not never alone. There's always someone who has already been through what you've been through. And it's good to listen to people who are already on the other side. And find something that you're passionate about and that's meaningful to you, that brings meaning into your life. That's a big one.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much for your share and those words of wisdom. As we close, just to remind you all, you matter. You're here for a purpose and a reason, and we want to help you be seen, be heard, and shine your light. Life is so beautiful. I found joy again. I found bliss. I found deep, meaningful relationships. I now am not afraid to ask for help or even ask for prayer. We're not meant to be alone, and we're all here to help each other walk our way home to the end of our days. And so just remember that when in doubt, reach out. So we'll see you guys back here tomorrow. I got an amazing guest on my podcast, Carol Hodges, whose daughter committed suicide. And she's actually one of the main speakers at my September 21st event. She lives right here in Fallbrook, in my hometown here. So looking forward to that one, as well as another great interview on Friday. So until next time, here's to your best health, your best wealth, your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you so much for
Bye.
tuning in. Please subscribe, download, leave a 5-star rating or review, and also please refer this to a friend you know who may benefit from this inspirational message. We hope to see you again. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel or join my Facebook community. And if you are looking to manifest your best health, your best wealth by trusting your best wisdom within, please go to my website, www.microdosingforhealth.com. Again, www.microdosingforhealth.com, to quiet your mind, get into your heart,